Hello and good day. Today is Thursday. I think it might be the 22nd, I believe. Maybe? Yes. Anyway, 20-something of January. I cannot believe January is mad. It's going so fast. And, yep, everyone's well. I hope everyone is well and doing good. I am still enjoying filming, and again, I do want to be more consistent, but as yet, I'm not in any routine because I still have quite a lot of things up in the air. So I won't be able to say, oh, I post on this day or I film on this day, but my plan is to film on a certain day and post on a certain day. Oh yeah, editing in between, because I do want it to look, One of my favorite persons in the world, Audrey from the Receipts podcast, just started her vlogcast on YouTube, and I love it. And it's all edited and stuff, but she knows all this kind of people. But it's just, there's some people that you just can't get enough of them. And that's Tolly and Audrey. I can't get enough of them. And Auntie Fumi, of course. Speaking of which, I have just binged on some FDV TV, as I like to call it. Some episodes that Auntie Fumi put out. I think it's the one from yesterday. So it's the one where it's a man called Ryan Daniels. Never heard of him. And I think he was in the Club Shay something. My camera's a bit wonky, but there's nothing I can do about it. Okay, let me see. Is that better? The Club Shay episode where he's been interviewed and he talks about his mom and his relationship with his mom and how his mom has 5 children, I think. I mean, that's not the shocking part. 5 children, and the oldest is 42, but she's only 56 or something like that. So and I think they're all from the same dad from the clip I heard. That means she started having kids at 13. And she's just really bitter about how her life turned out. Of course you'll be bitter about how your life turned out. 13! Anyway. Let me stop saying 13, because that age for me was pivotal for me. So let me shut up. Yes, I will just shut up. Okay, so what Auntie Fumi said at the end of it was amazing. In terms of, it was so inspirational, it was so motivational, and it was kind of like for anyone it was a speech that was like for anyone that feels their life is over, and because of what happened to them and things like that they should now just sit down and die or whatever. That's not the case. So that was really, really, really encouraging. And then the other thing she said was, I'm just trying to remember, was because the guy said, the Ryan comedian guy, again, I never heard of him, he said, he just wants his mom to come back to him, take his calls or meet up with him or something, and to come and be his mom. And even before Auntie Fumi said it, I was thinking, mate, she had kids from 13. She doesn't know anything about being a mom. She became a mom when she was 13. She had not finished developing. And then Auntie Fumi made a note about how there's a part of you that stops developing as a woman, I'm guessing, once you become a mom, if you're not fully developed already. So technically, or hypothetically, no, technically, that means that anyone that has a child before 25, their brain is wired differently because they never fully developed before they started having kids. Anyway, shortly during this video that I was watching, an advert for psychology came up and I've signed up. I mean, I'm not going to do it now, but I've always wanted to do it. I'm fascinated by the human psyche and how they think. I even know what I'm going to specialize in. And I'm not even going to give any guesses. I think if you know me well enough, you know exactly what I would specialize in, because I have so many questions. It's a 3-letter word, starts with M, ends in N. Anyway, it was just fascinating. I enjoyed it a lot. The other thing I wanted to talk about was, and I'm gonna find the transcript and read it out. So I listen to Daily Audio Bible, not daily, but I listen daily, but I had a lot to catch up on, and I had to do a long drive yesterday, and I caught up with quite a lot of it. So as of today, I finally finished listening to the Daily Audio Bible for 2025, and the last few episodes were so emotionally charged, not just for me, but for Brian Harding that was reading it. But there's a prayer that he did on the 31st of December episode that I do want to to print out and read here. And it's a prayer that applies, it can apply every single day. It's not just a New Year's Eve prayer. It's an everyday prayer. And the reason I love how Brian prays, or how he talks in general about God, is it's in a very personal way. It's not like you're saying typical prayers that you hear either from growing up or, and he told the story of how he actually started the podcast, which is the longest running podcast that is centered around knowing God. 20 years he's been doing it every day there's an episode. 20 years. And he said that's 7,305 days. 20 years. And I think the day before he started the podcast, that was, or maybe a week before, I think he said it was the last week of, I think, 2024 or 5, I don't know. 2005 or 2004, I don't know, one of them years, anyway, 20 years ago, was when he was praying. He got the Bible, he was reading it, and his prayer was very specific. He said he wanted to know God, I'm paraphrasing, that he wanted to know God, but he wanted to know God for himself, not from what other people have told him about God. And for me, as someone that changed religions as in adulthood, that's exactly very similar to my prayer when I stopped being a Muslim. Because I was like, I need to know him for myself. I need to know God for myself. Me and him one-to-one, because Brian was a pastor's kid. So obviously, automatically, you're supposed to fall in line and do all the stuff, and and for me, religion is, for the most part in our society, done in a way where you're given the doctrine of how you have to do things, and it's just how it's always been. So it's up to you as a person to want to find God for yourself, preferably without wilderness seasons, but the message he then got from God to answer his question or his request to know more about God on a personal level was, God said to him, I want you to podcast the Bible daily. And that's how it started. And 20 years later, it does help massively that he was a record producer and sound engineer. Some of us don't have any of that, so that was quite good for him. But yeah, anyway, I'm going to find the prayer, I'm going to read that, because it was just very apt. And both what Brian said and what Auntie Fumi said, I'm just thinking about last year and what I went through those last 6 months of the year. And I just remembered now, there was something I wrote down on my wall in, I think in January or February last year. This time last year when I knew, well, as of this time last year, I was actively looking for a new job, because the 9th of January 2025 was when I knew for sure, was it the 9th? No, the 8th of Jan was when I knew for sure I needed to leave my job that I was in, because I'm like, okay, you people have been trying to push me over the edge. This is it. Thank you very much. Let me go. So I remember listening to a clip that Auntie Fumi had put in one of her videos, and it was a clip of, I don't want to get his name wrong, so I'm not going to say it. It was a pastor that died. I remember he died with his wife in a helicopter crash or plane crash or something not too long ago. Okay, maybe it was ages ago, but I don't remember. But I remember it was a black guy, and it was only when he died that I knew about him. And then it was shortly after that I saw Auntie Fumi's clip, and he said something about, if God were to ever show you the plans he had for you, like literally the journey you're gonna get through, you'd be like, no thank you. You'd be like, no, I'm good, I'm okay here, let me just stay here. If he showed you, you would be like, nah. So for me, I'm thinking like, if I knew what the last half of last year or the second half of last year was gonna be like for me, if I knew, I don't know what I would have done. I don't know, but and both Auntie Fumi and Brian Harding was able to show examples or remind me of examples in the Bible when God sends people to go and do something, like Moses and who else was it? I can't remember. And then to a degree, Jesus, and they're like, nah, can you send someone else? Especially the Moses one, because I remember that one where Moses gave and Jonah. How can we forget Jonah? I was like, nah, sorry, I can't do that. Can you send someone else? And it's that thing Auntie Fumi was like, when you go like, oh God, why me? Why not you? Did I not make you? Me that has made you and given you everything to survive or to fulfill this thing, this purpose I created you for. How dare you say why me? That's what I got from that. Anyway, I'm relaying all of this in a much more jovial, positive manner, because it was really heavy stuff. Really heavy stuff. But if you truly have a relationship with God where you talk to him exactly how he's made you to be, and you ask questions, he will send you answers. But you have to pay attention. You absolutely have to pay attention. Otherwise you miss it. And then when you miss it, you don't know when next is going to happen. And before you know it, another wilderness season is happening. But to be fair, even those of us that pay attention most of the time, the wilderness season it can happen whenever, even when everything is going perfect. So I just saw a lady wearing leggings. That's why I made a face. Walking. And I don't think she should be wearing leggings, because she doesn't really have a bum. Like, it's like where does it when it goes inside? Is it concave? So normally your bum should come out like this, yeah? But hers goes in a bit. So she had no business wearing, it just looked like there was something wrong with her bum. Anyway, sorry. At least I did really well. I didn't get distracted until just then throughout this chat. But that is all I wanted to share. I have no idea what day we're on. I was actually gonna wang on about something else, but that came up, so there we go. Right. Do I have enough time to turn around? Right, let's see if I can turn around. Because the last time I parked here, by the time I turned around, someone had taken my space. This is the joys of school run. But yeah, have a wonderful day. And even I'm excited to finish this 90 days stuff, because then the car stuff will stop. It would have to stop. And I am hoping and praying that I can get my plans in order by the end of the month. Like the plans. Oh God. Okay. For once, I'm going to be one of the first parents at the school gates. My son will be very happy about that. Oh gosh, I forgot to open the water bottle. Okay, bye.